Hey everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. It is Sunday morning, so I missed my Friday video because I was in Brisbane with my mum getting cataract surgery, helping her out for a couple of days, and I only got back yesterday. So I didn't have anything set up in advance because that's not something I managed to do. So we haven't had a video out since Wednesday, I think, though I did do a bit of bits and pieces that needed filming on Wednesday. I just haven't shared them yet. One of those is getting the lemon chung sorted out. So I got, this isn't finished yet, but I started sorting that out, and I made dumplings. Now, I feel like those videos are enough, like it's too much to put into a Sunday chat, and I'll do follow-up of that as part of the video that includes that, rather than trying to include it in this, because it's not going to work. It's too long and it's long-winded, and it was from Wednesday. And when I do the follow-up of these, I'll also do the follow-up of the salt-cured egg yolks. But for now, I think we'll just go through our normal Sunday updates and things like that. It's also Apollo's birthday today. So he has requested a cake. He's at church at the moment, so he has requested one of my orange almond cakes. So we're going to throw that together. And Kavik requested some bread loaves, some actual loaves of bread. I haven't made them in a while. And it was something that he asked me to make. So I'm going to get that dough started first, I think. And then we will look at making the cake. And I will chat to you about all the stuff. We got that, we got the new freezer, so we're gonna have to set that up. And I scored another freebie that was pretty cool. So let me just get my stuff together to get the bread dough started, because it's kind of cool today. So I want to get it pumping, and we'll get it proofing so that I can get it shaped and in the oven, and he can have it for lunch. It's only 8:45, so I've got a few hours to get it done. Use a good amount of yeast. It should be good. All right, so I've got the kettle on warming up some water. I am going to add some starter to it because I've been talking about getting this starter going and keep on forgetting. And it's very hungry. You can see it's got some hooch on the top there, some liquid on the top. But we're just using it as a add-in here. And the point is so that I can feed it and keep it going, but I'm not going to waste this bit of starter. If the temperatures are hot, you can use starter straight from the fridge and it will give you some lift. But in these temperatures, it's not going to do what I need it to do. So I'm going to add yeast as well. But now I've used enough of this that I can feed it, and we can try and get it going again. Because I love sourdough as much. It's a whole lot of effort, and I'm not doing it much lately because it's so much effort, but I do really enjoy it, especially a crusty sourdough loaf with fresh soup. So in the cold weather, the problem is it's in the cold weather is the hardest time to keep it going, and in the cold weather is when I want it the most, but you know. But we're just doing white sandwich bread for today. So the water's just over tepid. We got 100 grams of starter in there. We're going to do 900 grams of water because we are going to do 3 loaves, which is my standard. So it looks hot because the air's like, it looks like it's a lot hotter than it is with the steam, and it's just because it's cold out here. And then we're going to add some yeast because that starter will not be enough on its own. So we're going to use about 20 to 30 grams of yeast. Go the higher end because the weather is cool, but we've warmed that water up, which is good. We're going to put some salt in here, about 20 grams of salt, and then we're going to put some sugar in here again to help with that yeast, especially in this colder weather. I actually have a whole video on this sandwich bread, so I'll try and remember to link it, but we all know that that's pretty far-fetched for me. But anyway, so we'll just put about 50 grams of sugar in there just to help with that, and then we're just going to add flour and a bit of fat. Now my ghee is solid, so I'm not going to add that. I'm going to add olive oil, which is also semi-solid, but still going to go through the dough a little bit better. So it's, you know, it's liquidy. So we're just going to put 50 grams of that as well. It's just a fat to help with make the bread crumb really nice and soft. I actually do have some bread improver here, I think, that I bought a couple of shopping trips ago because I was going to give it a go in things, and I never get around to it because I forget that it's there. But we might just put a teaspoon of that in as well. It helps to keep the crumb softer for longer, but it's unnecessary, but we're going to do it because I bought it, so I may as well use it. And then we put 1200 grams of flour in it. That's it. We're going to let it proof, and we're going to split it into 3 tins. So I'm going to mix this up, put it aside, and then we will move on to the orange almond cake and chatting about the everything else that's going on. But I needed to get this done first. And I will try and remember to link the video for this as well. All right, so dough in a container. I'm just going to stick this in the oven with the pilot light on to proof. It'll probably take an hour to double. I don't have the fire. I didn't restart the fire this morning because it just wasn't that cold. So warmer in the oven with the pilot light on. Okay, next thing, I'm going to make my chocolate orange cake. So this is a jar of oranges that I canned. I'm sure I've got a video of it. It was oranges that were boiled, pureed, and then jarred up. Now the top does oxidize a little bit, goes a little bit darker, and that's because it's not covered in liquid. So the oranges on the top oxidize a little bit, but it's still perfectly good. This is a fair age, this jar, which is why there's a bit more browning than, but it doesn't affect the flavor or the quality or the usability of it. So we've got a jar of that. I've just opened that. I need to find some almonds, and we will start that cake up. Probably got the ratios written down. I know most of it off by heart because it's one of the ones that the kids request every birthday. So I will find it and I will get the almonds out. Right, so I'm going to use, there probably is a recipe on here somewhere for something similar, but I have the one that I always use, so I'm just going to go with that. So we've already got our steamed oranges, as I said, boiled oranges, or you can steam them in your Varoma or whatever you want to do with them to have that, but I've already got them in jars. We're going to make our almond meal first. So we want 200 grams of whole almonds. We're going to put the scales on. 100 grams, I've got another bag here. $200 grams-ish of almonds, and we're going to turn these into almond meal. So we're going to do them for, I don't know, 10 seconds, speed 9. And we've got this really lovely fine almond meal, all right? And then we're going to add our sugar, and we're going to grind it for a little bit just to make sure it's a little bit finer, because I've just got raw sugar. So we're going to do 250 grams of sugar. 200, I don't think I normally do 250. I'm pretty sure, I can't find my notes. It's a birthday cake. We'll do the full amount for this particular one, just to make sure. 250 grams, and we're going to grind this as well, just so that we've got them both fairly fine. And now we've got this fine sugar almond meal mix, which will make a nice flour for our cake. So then we're going to add our oranges, and we want around about 375 grams of orange. I have a tendency to pretty much just put a whole jar in because I think it ends up being about 400 grams, which is why I did it in this size jar. So I find that the 400 grams is fine. It's probably a little drier than if I had just freshly boiled them too. So yeah, 400 grams of orange in there. And then we're going to add some cocoa, and we're going to add some eggs. So I need to go and grab some eggs. So we need 6 eggs for this one. Got some eggs. As per usual, eggs from our chickens. So we break them into a bowl first just to make sure that there's nothing in them. In this weather, highly unlikely, but you never know. Now we're going to add about 50 grams of cocoa. I've got some surplus in a container here. Oh! Let me clean that up. It's not quite cleaned up, but it's hard to clean while I'm still in progress. So let's see if we can get this to work properly this time. We want 50 grams of this. What a waste of expensive cocoa powder at the moment. All right, 50 grams of cocoa. And big mess, which again, I'll finish cleaning up when I'm done. What else am I doing? Baking powder. So we want about sort of 20 grams, tablespoons worth. 30, you know, it'll all work out. A pinch of salt to help push that chocolate flavour, and I think that's it. I'm calling that good. So now we're just going to mix it on like speed 5 for 30 seconds, get it all well and truly mixed up. And we've got a nice thick batter. All right, I'm going to clean this up and then I'm going to find a spatula and get it in a tin. All right, so that was fun to clean up, as you can imagine. All right, so I just use these aluminium tins, and all I do is I line the bottom of them. And to do that, I cut a circle, I cut a big square, I fold it, and fold it, and fold it once more into these triangles, like that. And then place the center of the point in the middle of the pan, and then if you cut where it hits the edge on a slight curve, you end up with a circle that fits the base of the pan. So that's what I tend to do. I don't bother about the sides or anything. I don't find it necessary, but the base is fine. It will slide out like that. That's just in the bottom, pinched around the edges, and then we're going to pour the batter in. And then I'm going, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit lumpy, doesn't matter if it's a little bit rough. It's a pretty forgiving sort of a dough, because the cake is quite dense anyway. Though some of the sugar did appear to stick to the sides. I probably should have scraped that down between adding the wet ingredients, but as I said, a little bit of texture to it, not a big deal. If you do prefer it to be less textured, using almond flour works as well. But I'm pretty low on almond flour, and I've got a whole couple of bags of almonds, so I can grind them in this. It's not quite the same consistency as like a Costco bought almond flour, but it's close enough, and it still works really well. So there we go, we got that. Now that just has to go in the oven. Now it cooks for 40-45 minutes. It's a long slow cook, 160-175, and I'll show that to you later. But I've actually got the dough in the pilot, so I'm gonna have to swap things out. The dough's already got a start on its doubling, so I'm just gonna stick this on top of the oven. They'll get enough residual heat from the oven being on, and that's not quite ready to do anything with yet. So let me just quickly tidy up a bit more, and then I'll come back and chat about all the updates. All right, so we've tidied up again. So we're waiting on that dough, and I'll shape that shortly. And the cake is in the oven. It's 9:30, so about 45 minutes. And by that point, bread probably won't be quite ready to go in, which is a bit of a, I'll have to turn the oven off briefly, but gas oven, it's not so bad. It heats up so quickly. Mum's surgery went well. Thanks for everyone's well wishes. She came through fine. It's just now just the recovery, just the, the drops 4 times a day for a week and all that, but she's pretty happy with it. So that was her second eye that she got done. So the first eye had a cataract a couple of years ago. The second one had one now. So now she should have 20/20 vision again. She will need reading glasses. She only got long distance lenses. Apparently now you can get lenses that have long and short. But when she got her first one done, they didn't have that. So she just got long distance lenses, and it means that she will need to use reading glasses. But she's older lady, so that's not unheard of. So she's recovering well from that. She is planning on coming up next weekend to visit while Darryl is away, so long as everything goes fine between now and then. So that will be nice. I picked up the freezer. So when I went looking for end of financial year sales and stuff, I looked for one of the 500 litre hybrid freezers, and I found one that has a scratch and dent sale. So I'll show you when it's still on the back of the ute at the moment, but it's got a couple of dings and scratches and stuff on it, which really doesn't worry me because it doesn't affect the usability of the freezer. But it meant that it was only $800 instead of $1,200. It's a Hisense. And it has a 5-star rating, and they're just a really good freezer. So that is exciting. I will do my bulk meat order sometime this week, so I will figure that out and I'll share that as well. And when we receive it, I'll share it. But it'll be nice to fill up that freezer with some excess meats, and that will cover next shopping trip as well. So the meat that I buy, to a degree, the meat that I buy in this bulk meat order is going to be aimed to cover the rest of this period, 4 to 6 weeks, and then the next 4 to 6 weeks as well. I do tend to buy a few things no matter what, especially if there's something on sale or whatever when I do the grocery trip, but this will be the bulk of it, hopefully. Anyway, that's the plan. We'll see how we go. We'll see how we execute it, because, you know, that theory is always good. I also managed to score, so the freezer that I had to get, I had to go all the way over to the north side to pick it up. And so I browsed the Facebook Marketplace in the area of where I was going to pick the freezer up and found a gentleman who was giving away pallet loads of banana powder. So it is 100% dehydrated banana powder. It's out of date. It was February 25, I think is the date on it, but it's foil sealed, 100% organic banana powder. Now, he said it's baby food grade, so he's a manufacturer or an importer who sells to manufacturers, obviously. And he had a few pallets left. He said he had a 40-foot shipping container originally sold and whatever else, and just has excess left, taking up room in his warehouse. And he didn't want to stuff around with it, so he was offering it free, but only if he came and grabbed a whole pallet worth, which is fine. I already had the freezer on the back, so my cousin actually brought his ute and we got the pallet on his ute and we broke the pallet down to go onto the back of my ute in the freezer and around the freezer for the drive home. I gave a few boxes away in Brisbane and I've given a couple away out here, but yes, I have like 25 kilo boxes of banana powder, but it was free and the cost of that is huge. Like if I was to buy it, and it will be perfect for the instant porridge. I'll be able to turn it into banana bread so the kids can just eat the bananas fresh and that sort of thing. It could make banana milk, banana smoothies, banana muffins, all sorts of things. And until I open one of the 25 kilo bags, they're basically indefinite life. So long as the bags aren't pierced, they won't go off. It's dehydrated banana powder in a foil bag in like Mylar. So it's just going to be a matter of storing it. It's not our forte, having space to store things, but we will figure it out. So yeah, I got a pallet load. I'll put a photo in here. A pallet load of that. I'm going to ship some to a couple of friends, and it'll be worth the shipping to do it because it was free. So the cost of the shipping is neither here nor there on, you know, for moving it. So yes, I haven't opened anything yet. I will do that sometime during one of these videos in this week or next week, and we will try baking. I think I want to try banana muffins with it. Use it as flavoring rather than banana bread, because I think banana bread is always such a moist thing that I don't know how I'd go getting the ratios right, but we will try it, especially if we've got shortages of bananas. So normally we have low or too expensive bananas in the winter months because they're a tropical fruit. But it really depends on where they're coming from. Like we got some really cheap ladyfingers on the last trip, which is unusual, but we did, so that's great. But we will see. But I think Ninja Creamy with the banana powder will be really nice, like a banana Nesquik type thing in the Ninja Creamy, so that will be really good. So yeah, and I need to make a new batch of instant porridge, and that banana powder will be so much better than the little banana chips that I normally grind up. So that is exciting to try out a few different things with that. We will figure out how we're going to use it, but you know, it'll get used eventually, or passed on to someone who will use it, or whatever. We'll find a way, and it was free and it was worth the effort to get. So yes, we have that. What else? Sonnet enjoyed her trip. She was a lot of work, which is why I don't take them on grocery trips. Just having a child with you, and you know, she might be adult size, but she's only 12 and she's work. So when doing the groceries, it's a little too hard to fathom juggling a child's needs as well as the arduous task of getting all the groceries and making sure I do it correctly and spend the money correctly and get everything we need within the timeline that we need to and things like that. So this was a good opportunity to take her, but yes, she was as much work as I expected it to be. We did take the kitten with us as well. We did take Mercury with us as well, because we'd only had her a couple of days, and Sonnet and I are primary carers for the kittens. Sinatra and Panda stayed behind, but Apollo slept in Sonnet's room so that they had company. And they're used to that, and they have the whole room, whereas Mercury's still contained to a cage a lot of the time. Though at Mum's place, she had free reign of Mum's apartment. She very much enjoyed scaling couches and all sorts of things while she was there. So she's looking forward to getting loose here as well. She did play up for about like half an hour at the beginning of each car trip before settling down and just sleeping her way through the rest of it. So that was good. But she was a good little traveller, and she was a good, well behaved while we were there, and that was fun as well. What else? Oh, we got the potbelly. I'll have to take a photo of it. We did get the potbelly. It hasn't been installed yet. We do need some extra flue. We need an angle for the flue because we don't want to take it through the new extension roofing because it's the sandwich panel roofing. So we'd prefer to take it out the wall and up along the side of the building. So we're going to need some flashing for where it goes through the wall because we've got timber framework in there, and an angle to get it through that wall. So because it's a potbelly, it's a Klondike, a Massport Klondike potbelly. They have a 4.5-inch flue, which isn't standard for purchasing like at Bunnings or anything. Bunnings is a 6-inch flue. So I have found a place online that sells all the different pieces. So I'm going to log in probably this afternoon once Darryl's home, discuss what sort of he wants and get him to measure the flue that we've currently got. Because our roof line is quite high, you need to have at least a metre clearance above the highest point of your roof for it to draw appropriately. So I'd say we'll need some extra length and we'll need those bends. So we're going to have a look at that and order that, which means it might not get installed until the week after because Darryl leaves on Wednesday, I think. And he's not back until the next Monday. So we'll sort that out, but it might be a little bit before we get that sorted. I'm not real sure. At least we have it, and that's the main thing. And it was cheap for what it was. No fireplace is cheap, but we got it for $700 with the flue and everything, and it's a proper Klondike Massport potbelly. So that was a good price. They're about $1,500 new without a flue, and it's in very good condition. So we were happy with that. What else? I still need the 2 further sales for Thermomix. I've had a couple of people reach out looking to buy, but not necessarily right now. So if you know of anyone, please direct them my way. That would be super wonderful. But I still I have till the 29th, so I have a week to go. And so I'm still hopeful on that one. It would be really nice, but what will be will be. What else? I think that's it. So it's Apollo's birthday today. Cake in the oven. I got bread on because they requested sandwich bread, and the afternoon is probably going to be. We need to cut some more wood, I think. So probably be wood cutting and stuff. We ordered some more chains for the chainsaws, but they didn't arrive before I left. So they're still at the post office. We can't pick them up till Monday. So we're having to just cut small amounts of wood at a time because we don't have a sharpener at the moment. Well, we would have somewhere, but we can't find it. Part of the problem with having a lack of storage space or designated storage space and things that only get used for a few months of each year is that we struggle sometimes. By the time it comes back around to the time that we need something, we just cannot find it. We need some big metal cupboards, like tool cupboards and stuff, but we don't really have anywhere to put them at the moment. The new freezer, I'm going to have to move the black shelf that I always show with all my canned goods on it. I think I'm going to move that somewhere and put the freezer there because that's in line with the line of power supply and things like that. But yeah, this kitchen really needs to be rearranged, and once the kitchen's rearranged, we'll have the ability. We've got another set of shelves that can go up eventually once we get it sorted, but everything is just always such a work in progress and we're just not there yet. So we, eventually, one day, soon, maybe, hopefully. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go and finish my coffee, and then I'm going to come back. This dough is looking really good. It's going really well. So I will give it another 30 minutes, maybe 20, 25 minutes, and then I'll come out and shape that into the loaf tin. So I'll bring you back then, and we will figure out if there's anything else for that. I got sidetracked, as is forever the case in my house, so this is well and truly proved. I need to get that shaped. I also got the cake out of the oven, so it is camera. So it is firmish to the touch in the middle. So that is done. We'll put that on a cooling rack once it cools a little bit more. This dough we will scrape out. It should pour out pretty easily. Yeah. It's probably a little overproof to what I would normally do, but it is fine. All right. Let's get a surface to work with like normal, using that little bit of flour on the bench as needed to get us to something manageable to work with. All right, now this makes enough for 3 loaves, so all right. $5.50. Can't remember what they're supposed to be. $5.50. $5.50. So I did that really well, didn't I? All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to gently shape these. So all I'm going to do is, oh, it's a sticky dough today. All right, going to just tuck it in like that, nice and simple, and then roll it up and give it a little bit of a tension roll, but I'm really not overly concerned. And then just place it in the lined tins, just like that. I'm going to go super simple. Kavik does not care, and he's the one who requested the bread. So I'm just going to go side in, like that. Stretch it out a little bit, and then just roll that way and create a little bit of tension on the surface, but nothing too worried about. Because the dough is very sticky. So again, I'm just going to flatten into a bit of a square, bring the sides in over each other, just like that, and then roll very, very roughly, and just create that little bit of tension on the surface. And then my paper's moved, place it into the tray. Very, very rough today. All right, so we've got these 3, tiny bit around the edges like that, which also just gives it a crustier crumb anyway. So just like that, and then we're sorted. So now I'm just going to let these proof for probably only 20 minutes, and then I'll throw them in the oven. Alrighty, bread done. Now I could only find, see, I used the tins as a lid, and I could only find 2 extra tins. So this one didn't have a lid on it, which is why it's a little bit darker. I'm not going to butter this one because I really like a crusty bread. So I'm going to leave this one as is so that I can have some of that crusty bread. But I'm going to put a little bit of butter or ghee on these 2, if I can find it. It's here somewhere. Anyway, I'm going to put a bit of ghee on the top of these two because that's what I normally do with sandwich bread. But I'm going to leave this one like this because I really like a crusty loaf. But that is the 3 loaves done in the oven. These two with the lid on, this one with the lid off it. So it's just a little bit darker. It didn't have quite the same oven spring, but they'll all taste just the same. So that's that done. I haven't cut the cake or anything yet. I'll see if I get that on this video or not. Depends on when I want to put it out. Probably be tomorrow morning because otherwise I'm rushing myself to get it edited. Just going to be a big gap between videos, which YouTube hates, but that's life. Life gets in the way. So, sandwich bread done. Seeing as they're not home yet, I've actually put a dozen and a half, 18 odd eggs in here that I've just given a rinse. And because we've got an overabundance of eggs at the moment. So I'm going to boil these and we'll have some like egg mayo salad type stuff to have with the fresh bread, which I think will be nice. Hopefully I can find some of those avocados that are edible. A lot of them, they just haven't ripened. It's the weather isn't right for it. So anyway, I'm going to boil these up. So all I do is I put them in cold water. I put them on the stove. Once they hit a boil, I time for 4 minutes and then I turn them off. And here we go. We'll slice up some of this bread. Darryl and the rest of the kids should be home shortly. Of course, cutting this when it's not quite cold is always harder than doing it when it's fully cold, but who can resist warm white sandwich bread? So that's what my bread looks like on the inside. So I will just cut it up. The kids can have whatever they want on it. I've got the eggs. I'm just turning off now. It's been 4 minutes and I'm going to go and peel them, and yeah, the kids can have the egg mayo mix on sandwiches, or they can have ham and mayo or whatever they want. Now, of course, these bread slices, as I said, a bit thicker because it's really hard to cut warm bread, but the texture of it is just amazing. So that's our sandwich bread. I have no idea where I left off the thing. I need to cut the cake to show you, but I thought because I'm doing this that I would show you. This is the chicken soup that was canned. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it in pot to heat up. I'm going to do 2 of the actual, because this is a dinner not a lunch, I'm going to do 2 of the actual chicken and vegetable soups. And then because the kids really like their soup with pasta, I'm going to do a jar. I haven't taken the rings off yet. It's been on the bench. I'm going to do a jar of the really nice fatty stock as well, and heat all this up and put a packet of macaroni noodles in it. And then we've got the fresh bread from today. So we got those 3 quarts in there for the 5 kids to have for dinner. Darryl and I as well if we want. And all I do is I heat it through, and then we've just got these little macaroni noodles. So I'm going to put probably half this bag in there because otherwise it'll suck up too much liquid, and just give it a stir. And then it's rich chicken veg noodle soup, and I'll slice up the rest of that bread, bring that up to a boil and simmer it for 8 minutes or however long it needs for the pasta, and that will be dinner, and probably some leftovers by the looks of it. Possibly could have done 1 jar of soup, but I prefer to have more than not enough, so that's what we're doing for dinner. Slice up the bread as well, which I've had stored in my dehydrator actually, because it was just a nice enclosed space, but much cooler now, so easier to slice. Slice the rest of this loaf up, and then there's 1 more loaf and it hasn't been touched yet, so I won't cut into that one today. We can have that tomorrow. So this, already saw it today, but it's so nice. I don't know why I don't make it more often, just don't get around to it. So that the pieces that were left from lunch, and there is the extra loaf for tomorrow. And then all I need to do is cut up the cake, and I'll show that, and then I will log off and we will serve dinner. So let me grab a plate. Alrighty. And then this is what the inside of this cake looks like. Very moist, which is the way we like it. I didn't peel that paper off the bottom, did I? That was silly of me. But this is what the inside, I just broke some off too because I didn't peel the paper off. This is what the inside looks like. Really nice, dense, chocolatey, flourless cake. So, cake done. Dinner will be served shortly, and that is Apollo's birthday dinner. And I'm going to sign off. So that is it from me for today. I have no idea what I covered and what I didn't, because that's how Sunday squirrels go. But I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.